Good morning and welcome back to the Basic Dude podcast. I hope everyone enjoyed last week's episode. I apologize if it was offensive, but you know what? I felt it needed to be said, and that's really about it. So, anyway, today's episode, we are going to have another life topic, I guess we'll say. But don't worry, I won't hurt anybody's feelings. But today we're going to discuss managing hyper-focus like a boss, as you've seen. And I've been going through my 90-day challenge and trying to focus on diet and exercise and routine and hitting everything. And especially as of late, life has been extremely chaotic, like overly chaotic. So with that said, I tend to begin to hyper focus on things, on that routine. So that way I'm staying on track and not diverting from the course. It can distract you from other things. You're not focusing on work as much, you're not focusing on home, your wife, your significant other, whatever, your kids, chores that need to be done around the house. And to be quite honest with you, being hyper-focused can be incredibly exhausting. It's tiring. I don't really know. Today's day of recording is Sunday. And I slept in really, really late. I also ran into an issue this past week, where I didn't want to get out of bed and go to work. I'm never like that. And I think with today being, I believe, day 48 of the 90-day challenge, I'm really, with outside interferences and focusing so hard to make sure that I hit my goals and my routines, that it's kind of burning me out a little bit because I have all these things coming from me at all different angles, and it's kind of hard to manage. It's been very difficult to manage. With that said, let's dive in here, and we'll trying to watch my guys. Listen, I'm working on it, okay? Give me a break, would you? But let's see. I have some notes prepared here. Anyway, now if you've ever, being hyper-focused can be both a gift and a curse. It allows you to really pay attention to what you're trying to accomplish. However, at the same time, you're ignoring everything outside of that. So now, if you've ever been so locked in on a task that the hours fly by, you forget to eat, and suddenly the sun goes down, that's hyper-focused. It's great when you're in the zone, but if you don't know how to control it, it can totally throw your life off balance. So today, we're going to break it down. We're going to discuss what hyper-focus is, why it happens, how to manage it without killing your productivity, and some real-life strategies you can use today. I'm also going to throw in some personal stories, listener questions, and practical advice to help you stay focused, so not too focused. All right, let's get into it here. What is hyperfocus? The definition of hyperfocus is the state of deep concentration where everything else fades away. And why does it happen? Well, your brain locks onto something it finds stimulating or important. This can affect everyone. Everyone can experience this, but it's especially common in entrepreneurs, creatives, and people with ADHD. Personal example of a time that I became too hyper-focused. It seemed to have to do with money. And basically, what I did was I hyper-focused in on work. That's usually my point of interest when it comes to things, because in just my opinion, a lot of problems can be solved with money. Not having enough food or a place to live or anything of that nature, all has to do with money. You need a new car, or your car is broke down. Well, money can fix that. Now, I know money isn't the answer to everything, but when it comes to aversions in life, many times it is. So basically what I did was I took on a bunch of jobs all at once and ended up burning myself out, which I've discussed this before, but it was also a way to deal with my depression and stress. Also, because I felt that if I'm hyper focused on work, my depression won't affect me and I will be less stressed if I have more money because things will be getting taken care of. So that's kind of my personal hyper focus story. I manage it a lot better now than I did before, especially with doing this challenge. I'm trying to fit everything in. The other thing that I could possibly be hyper focused on is the podcast and social media and making videos and trying to achieve what I really want to achieve with my channels and my content. So, but I've become very good at managing that because I have systems in place and I have the time and I've really paid attention and focused that aspect out. So the pros and cons of hyperfocus. Pros are helps you crush projects and be insanely productive. It gets you into a flow state where work feels effortless. You can problem solve and innovate at a high level. Cons. You might lose track of time and ignore responsibilities. It can lead to burnout if you don't take breaks. You might neglect other important areas of life. Relationships, health. Health is a huge one. And basic self-care also is a huge one. Have you ever gotten into a project before and you forgot to eat or sleep? That's definitely a problem. And I had busy doing stuff, especially when like moving. I mean, you're trying to just get everything done and settled in, and you go without food, basically, and then sleep. I've had my times where, I'll get like 4 hours of sleep or 3.5 hours of sleep and get back up and just start getting back right to work. Also, not a long-term thing. So now we'll discuss some strategies on how to control hyperfocus. Number one is to set time limits. So you can use timers on the Pomodoro technique, which we're going to discuss the Pomodoro technique soon. I have an episode on that I really want to do because I think it's a very interesting way to be organized and productive and get a lot of things done that need to get done without stressing yourself out. So basically how that works is you work 25 to 50 minutes and then you take a break for 5 to 10 minutes. And you do this throughout the day. I believe a lot of manufacturing companies, they kind of do the same thing every hour and a half. They'll have employees stand up, stretch their hands, do some exercises, walk around, stuff like that. It's kind of in a mainstream sort of thing. It's a good exercise to practice, I guess, and it makes people more productive, I suppose. So number two, what you can do is you can set alarms to remind yourself to check in. Just kind of take a minute to step back, set an alarm, take a minute to step back and to look at things and go from there. Use a kitchen timer instead of your phone or like an alarm clock or other little small timers. There's less distractions. With your phone, you have constantly have stuff popping up, notifications, stuff like that. So it can be distracting. I've never used the timer technique myself because I think I naturally get to a point where I say to myself, okay, I've done enough. I need to take a break. I need to walk away, especially with computer work. When I went to college, if my head started hurting, that means it's time to get out and take a break. Not my reading and writing and computer work really is not my shtick, but it really bothers me, I guess. So the next thing you do is create external interruptions. Ask a friend or a partner to check in on you. Use apps that force you to take breaks like Freedom or Chorus. If you work from home, set scheduled interruptions, stretch, grab coffee, etc. Honestly, and not that I'm condoning this because of course it's not good, but when I used to smoke, I would go out and take smoke breaks. that would be my little break time. So it'd be a time for me to walk away, and to shut stuff off, and not think about work for a minute, and kind of a mental break. But with that said, you can still do that without, killing your lungs. Yeah, you can stretch, grab a cup of coffee, take a little walk. Especially if you work from home. Working from home, I think this is like the hardest. That's the hardest part of doing that, is taking breaks, and you're tethered to a computer. And I don't know, for me, when I work from home, like, I almost work harder because I feel like guilty that I'm not doing enough, because the whole work from home stigma, and people just fuck off and be lazy and whatever. So I get almost more work done. But I set up my little area with like a good workflow and stuff, and I take breaks. I grab a cup of coffee, grab some water, things like that. I'm not quite sure what Freedom or Forest is, those two apps. I'll have to look into those, but they sound interesting. And then find a friend or partner to check in on you. I don't know. For me, I don't like to be interrupted. That kind of bothers me, but I don't know. It's like I have to interrupt myself. I can't have somebody else interrupt me, because if someone else interrupts me, I'm not at a stopping point. Like with this method of trying to handle hyperfocus or hyperfocusivity, I don't know. You have to get to a stopping point before you can take a break, or at least that's just me. And I'll give you an example. So if you're a writer, you'd want to get to the end of a paragraph. You wouldn't want to stand up in the middle of a paragraph or in the middle of a sentence and get up and walk away, right? Because you're flowing and you're coming to ideas. Also, the other thing is, there was a study out there before. My boss used to get on my ass with how many smoke breaks I used to take. And I don't know, they used to make these people do all these fucking corporate training nonsense, fucking bullshit stuff, highly effective people and blah, 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 right? I'm not really shitting on it, but I don't know. I'm not in the corporate world, so I could really give a fuck about it. But yeah, he used to give me a hard time about my smoke breaks, because I would go out frequently to smoke. And he would say, when you walk away from something, it takes you an average of 5 to 10 minutes to basically get back to the same point you were at. Another example of like distraction, I guess, is I was talking to my wife the other day, and we were having a discussion. It popped into my head of, I need to write this down because I think it would be a good podcast topic. And I didn't write it down because we're continuing the conversation. I didn't want to take out my phone and be rude, and jot the note down. And like 20 minutes later, I totally forgot what we were talking. Not what we were talking about, or what part of that conversation I was going to use. So yeah, this can be kind of the downfall of taking breaks and walking away and stuff, because you could have a really good idea, or be at a place where it's really not appropriate to stop or be interrupted. But with that said, it is good to stand up, take breaks, go grab a cup of coffee, a bottle of water, things of that nature. Let's see. So prioritize and rotate tasks instead of going deep on one task. Break it up into smaller ones. It's the old adage, which I just love to use sometimes, of how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So if you have a big task to accomplish, it's a good way to do that. And setting smaller tasks can make things get done more productively and quicker. Also, by breaking it up into smaller tasks, it gives you stopping points where you can finish something small and then walk away. For me, like, I do podcasting, or the podcast. So if I'm working on a podcast episode, maybe I'll split time between research, scripting, recording, and editing, which I do all of that stuff. I do a lot of batch recording because I have to take the time that I have available, where, people aren't running around, doors aren't slamming, where I have just quiet alone time, and I can do that. So a challenge for you is try switching tasks every hour and see how it affects your focus. I would almost say write down some things that you need to do on separate sticky notes. So if you have 5 things to do, write them down on separate sticky notes and set them on your desk, or, post them on the wall, and go through and try to, figure out ways you can break those down even further, and then rotate through all that stuff. Because, the other thing is sometimes when we have a bunch of tasks, right, that we're trying to get done, we may be able to multitask, or we may be able to use both at this, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Let's see what's next. Use physical cues. Keep a clock in your workspace. Write reminders on sticky notes, just like I said. Check the time, take a break, drink water. Sticky notes are great. I use them on my laptop. I use physical sticky notes. I write notes in my phone. I don't know. I try to use so much stuff to be organized that it makes me unorganized. Just nothing is in one place. I don't know. I haven't found something that does everything I want it to do and is as frictionless as possible. Oh, this is a good one, too. So, for a personal trick, place a dumbbell near your desk. Every time you see it, do 5 reps as a quick break. There you go. See? Multitasking. You're taking a break. You're working on your fitness. I'm going to have to try this one out myself, even though I'm not always at a break. But I do sometimes stand up and go take a walk. So, next we'll move on to establishing start and stop routines. Start your day with a ritual. Coffee, planning, workout, etc., 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 or your crazy-ass morning routine like I have myself, and then end with a shutdown routine. Clean workspace, close laptop, take a walk. Yeah, I used to, that's kind of my thing. You look at the time and say, okay, that's it for today. We got to get cleaned up, put all our tools away, get everything back in our trucks and stuff like that. So, yeah, I guess I've been doing that without really knowing it for a while. And then, for my day-to-day, my personal end-of-day routine is I hit the treadmill, we have dinner, maybe take a shower. There's lots of ways to end the day. I think the biggest one is to separate yourself from work is to change into different clothes. Almost like you're Superman. You're putting on your costume, I guess, or uniform, or whatever you want to call it, right? It switches gears from Clark Kent to Superman. I think that's, as corny as that sounds, I think that's a good way to kind of disconnect, for sure. Change mentalities. Next, number 6, identifying hyper-focused triggers. Track when you get sucked in. Pay attention to kind of the things that are making you not use your time well, I guess, or taking up too much of your time. Ask yourself, what types of tasks trigger hyper-focus? Some people hyper-focus on creative tasks, others on numbers, gaming, or reading. There's a lot of people out there who just can't put the fucking controller down when it comes to video games. Reading, I could see that as well. I know that's a big thing where somebody will pick up a book, and next thing you know, by the time they set it down at 11 o'clock at night, they haven't gone to the bathroom, anything to drink. I know it can be just as bad as gaming. Well, and here's a little challenge for you. If you do this, which I'm very fucking bad at, and I've mentioned many times, here's a little journaling prompt for you. Journal for a week. See when you hyper-focused and why. Good tip. Number 7, stay hydrated and nourished. Set food and water reminders. Keep healthy snacks nearby. Me with some of my health issues, I am the type of person that also running around a lot. I not forget to eat, but don't have time to eat, I guess. So I tell myself. And what happens to me about 2:30 is I get really fucking moody and I start getting a fucking headache, and then it's kind of a shitty day. Yeah, that's I can be a real dickhead if I don't eat something by 2:30. And I think, that's that hangry thing. So pay attention to that as well. If you start feeling off or something like that, you grab a fucking candy bar or something, or really something more nutritious to eat. But your body is telling you that you need to eat right now. The other thing is water. this has been very hard with me, or very hard for me at the beginning of the 90-day challenge, was to drink my gallon of water every day. I now have it all figured out. I have a system set up and everything else. And now it's much easier than I really thought it ever was. So with that said, you need to, they have timers for water and all that stuff. Like, oh, hey, I'm going to take a drink of water, or drink 8 ounces of water, or whatever. So yeah, that's a big thing too. You need to stay hydrated. Number 8, engage in mindful shifts. Activities that force mental shifts: exercise, talking to someone, switching locations. Try book-ending work sessions with someone different. So stretch before, walk after, grab a cup of coffee before, drink a bottle of water after. Yeah, I don't know. Look at, no, never mind. I'm not even going to mention it. We don't want to get sucked into social media stuff, because we can get into doom scrolling and get lost. It's just not a good thing. So here's a question for you. And with that, please comment. You can leave a comment on the show, or you can go to my Instagram or TikTok or wherever. But just leave me a comment somewhere, or you can even send me a message. What's your go-to reset activity? If you have issues, on a normal work day doing whatever it is you do, what is your, in all reality, it could be as easy as, go and take a leak. What is your go-to reset activity? Let me know. Again, the Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, wherever the hell you find me. Leave me a comment or send me a message and just say, hey, I do this. I would love to hear kind of what you have to say, and how you may be avoiding hyper focus without even knowing it. So yeah, go ahead and send me that information. Next, 9, use a shutdown phrase. Say out loud, I'm done with this for now. I do that sometimes. I'll say, like, all right, I need a break. Usually it's when I start swearing at something. Physically step away when you say it. Don't just think it. And don't stay in your chair and, grab your phone. Try this next time you feel stuck in hyper focus. Number 10, schedule unstructured time. Block off time where you do nothing productive. Watch a dumb movie, go for a drive, just chill. The power of boredom and how it helps creativity. It gives you time to sort of separate and think of other things, or not. I watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of movies, and I think that's my way of shutting down. I think that possibly I have some undiagnosed issues. Well, I know I have some undiagnosed issues. I have always been a TV junkie: movies, TV shows, binge watch. I've been binge watching since before binge watching was cool. Now, with that said, yes, it's a immense waste of time. But, if it's a rainy, shitty day outside and it's cold and all your other stuff is taken care of, yeah, I think last night, actually, we had it was cold and rainy and muddy, and I had work, and I watched, what did I watch? 3 or 4 movies, back to back. I just kept going, couldn't stop myself. It's an escape. I think everybody needs an escape sometimes. I know a lot of these other guys that do podcasts. For the gentlemen out in the world, excuse me, that's what they're all about. Watching TV is a waste. You're pissing away your life. You're not being productive. You're not, you know what? Sometimes you just need to fucking shut shit off, because if you don't, you're going to drive yourself insane. So, you're going to burn out. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to have fights with people. You're going to be fucking moody. You're going to be unhappy. One of the biggest things that I used to love to do when I lived down south in Florida is I could probably sit in a lawn chair and watch the ocean for hours. Probably for an entire day. Just watch, what's swimming around, what's jumping, people watch. Just watch the waves go in and out. It's something that I really miss. It really is like a therapy. That's a way to shut off. and TV and music and whatever else you want to do, taking a walk, maybe taking a hike, stuff like that. That's a way to shut off. So with that said, we'll wrap up here. Being hyper-focused is a gift, but it needs boundaries and structure. You need to make sure that you're managing it, everything in moderation, right? So here's your challenge for the week. I want you to try one of these strategies, and I want you to DM me on Instagram at the basic dude, and I want you to DM me with your results. Let me know how it went. Did you use any of this stuff? Does it pique your interest? Anything like that? I'd really like people to interact more. I don't really get a whole lot of interaction. I don't really get a whole lot of plays on the show, to be honest with you. So if you could, if you're hearing this, follow, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your dog, tell your family, tell your goldfish. Really trying to, this podcast is really something I believe in, and I'm really trying to build, and I'm trying to, this is my way to serve my fellow men, right? Like, I'm not a veteran. I'm not a really cool, like, fucking awesome overachieving guy. I'm not into going out and protesting, or this is my way to serve. So if you could serve me back and follow the show and everything and share it. The other thing I'd like to do is I'm working on trying to get enough people to, I'll be honest with you, I'm not really quite sure how it works. But yeah, if you could go over to TikTok for me and just check out my videos and comment and follow me over there, I'll be able to go live. And that's really something that I'm looking forward to, because I really do want to start doing, I do men's morning coffee occasionally on Sundays. It's a live stream. And I'd like to do it on TikTok. I seem to have a lot of interest over there. So it's something that I'm not hyper-focusing on, but I am focusing a little bit more on than I said more on. I'm focusing a little bit more to that platform because it seems to be, fairly popular, and people really view my stuff. That's giving me results for my content creation, and that's where I tend to put a little bit more of my energy. So anyway, subscribe. This episode helped you. Share it with a friend who gets lost in the zone too often. Rate the podcast. Help more dudes find it. Help more dudes like yourself find the information that I every Monday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can guarantee that you will have a brand new, fresh episode for you to listen to. Again, thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your week. I want you to remember something. Go out there and be the man that you're meant to be. I'll see everybody next week.